So this weekend is Memorial Day, and don't get it confused with Veterans Day. The Memorial Day is for the people that served and died for the. This is a U.S. thing. Well, not. I mean, it doesn't. World War II is a world war. But anyway, so Memorial Day, and I thought that it would be interesting because my uncle Bill, he does a lot of the ancestry stuff, and he keeps track on genealogy, and he's got a bunch of he's like a photographer, and he restores like old photos and stuff, and keeps everything. He keeps track of everything, and is just really interested on the family stuff. He's gone through all the records for a bunch of different people. It's super interesting. And so my middle name is Raymond. My dad's middle name is Raymond, and because Raymond is my dad's dad, younger brother, right? And so he was in World War II, and let me read the synopsis of it. Yeah, this guy is what would be my great uncle Raymond, and my uncle's still finding information from it, putting together like family tree and all this stuff, and so let's see, I'll just read it. So Raymond, he usually went by Pat, not sure why or when that came from. He was the third child of Grandpa John and Cyrilla Malone, this guy was born July 8th, 1922. He was 5 years younger than my Grandpa Frank, that owns all the Model T. He's dead now. He owns all the Model Ts, and then my dad takes care of the Model Ts now. He grew up in Dallas Center, Iowa, and was a very good athlete, especially in football and baseball. He graduated from high school in 1940, and because there was no work in Iowa, he came to Illinois, where Grandpa Frank, my grandpa, lived and worked on Grandma Katie's farm and later in Chicago. Anyway, he loved to play ball and would spend much of his free time playing baseball wherever he could get in a game. This isn't very long, don't worry, guys. He was very outgoing and a fun person. The following story came from my Uncle George at a reunion years ago. All right, here we go. Raymond was known for his high energy and sense of humor. Right? It's like me, I guess. The story illustrates both traits. Sometime in the late 1930s, before Raymond was married or went into the service, he was living in Will County, Illinois. His older brother, Frank, my grandpa, was married to Catherine Becker, and Raymond was working for and living with Catherine's father, George Becker, Sr. The story was related to me by George Becker, who's still single and living at home at the time. George Jr. told me that he had a date one night and arrived home kind of late. Raymond had climbed to the top of a windmill and was standing on the platform at the top when... What a real prankster. When George got home, Raymond crowded loudly like a rooster to announce his late arrival. And he later met Betty Waldfogel and got married. He enlisted in the Army in 1942. I tried to get access to his military records, but they were lost in a fire in the St. Louis archives, so we had to piece things together. We know that he was sent to England and was involved in the D-Day push at Omaha Beach. The D-Day push. He was later wounded sometime after July 23rd. So basically, he was in the invasion during D-Day at Omaha Beach, June 6th through 7th in 1944, and then he was later wounded on July 23rd of the same year. So basically, you push, you set up shop, and you continue to fight. So it was like 2 months later, he got injured, and he was sent back to England, right? And then there's some letters that he wrote that we'll read when he was injured. and just chilling in the hospital. The last correspondence we know of came from him on July 29th from the hospital, and he signed it Combat Pat. So then he was so he gets injured. They send him to England to get all fixed up. He's healed up, and then they redeploy him to France later in the fall of the same year to fight in the Battle of the Bulge, where he was killed on October 4th, 1944. Uncle Dean, he's got a Purple Heart. Uncle Dean has his Purple Heart. He's buried at the Henry Chapel American Cemetery in Henry Chapel, Belgium. My Uncle Wayne Ostrander once told me that since he was married, his wife got to decide whether to bring him home or bury him there. She decided there, but the rest of the family would have preferred that they had shipped him home. Big controversy, I guess. I believe it was my Uncle Johnny said, I believe it was my Uncle Johnny said that, this is just like a movie, said that he was out riding his bicycle when he saw the man from the army walking down the street towards their house, which was an awful thing to see since he guessed what that meant. He was there to inform my grandparents that Raymond was killed. Crazy, huh? So that's like the synopsis. And then, so we have this. That's his thing in Belgium, I guess. Or, yeah, I'm not too familiar with all this stuff. But so here we go. Raymond Malone, Private First Class, U.S. Army, 119th Infantry. 30th Infantry, entered the service from Illinois, died in October 1944, buried Plot C, Row 6. Awards, Purple Heart with Oak Leaf Cluster. All right, here we go. This is a letter. I'm going to have a hard time reading this probably. So this is when he was injured, in between. So I thought I'd write and tell you I'm all right. I'm getting the Odell paper again. So he's reading the paper. I got the one last night of... I can't read it. I also had 2 letters from Betty. Here's all that keeps a guy kicking. I was talking to some fellows from another outfit last night that they gave me a lot of real coffee. It sure was good. I have to find me something to eat somewhere. Takes enough for 2 guys for me. I got new wool pants and shirt. I sure miss Iowa weather. This is worse than England. We got our Stars and Stripes to read most of the time. The Stars and Stripes is like a publication they had. I had a birthday card from Glenn. I sure would like to see The Little Rascal. Oh, okay, this is interesting. So Glenn is my uncle, which is my grandpa's son. He's dead now too, and that would be Raymond's nephew. So that's interesting. A young Glenn. I sure would like to see The Little Rascal. Well, I must be closing for now. Send something to eat. Cans or anything is good. Tell the boys to write. Tell Dad his shells are okay. Love, Pat. For some reason he called himself Pat. Dearest folks, I was wounded in France and I am back in England now. Do not worry. It would take more than Jerry to keep me down. I met a nurse from Iowa. Tell Dean to get in shape for football. Lots of love, Combat Pat. This is the last known email. Not email. Last known male in our family. These might be out of order. He may have been wounded by mass bomb drop to start the breakout. Cobra. Can't read that. For beach to take rest in France. Oh, a Jerry is AKA Nazi. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm from Belgium. He probably lays close to Leaper. Huh. All right, what is this one? That was the one I'm already on. All right, this is another one. These might be a little bit out of order. Here's the date. Sunny boy is somewhere in England. I just wrote to Betty. I sure do miss her. I got a letter today from you. It is bad. It is too bad the boys lost to Winburn. He's probably talking about a football game or something. I thought they would win it this year. I saw a soccer game. They sure are great at a game here. If you can find anything to eat, will you please send me a box? They don't even feed them some cookies or something. I thought about Johnny and Frank on their birthdays. Tell the new boy hello. I hope I get to see him when he's still small. I hope you can read this. I'm writing this on a checkerboard. You can have my paper sent here. I may have had my wallet stolen. The fellow burned all the pictures. Son of a... Yours too. Oh no. I sure was angry. He won't do it again for a while. I will close for now, right when you can. And that's it. So it's pretty interesting. Like, so he was involved in the D-Day thing. He survived that. And then like 2 months later, as they continue to fight, gets injured, gets sent, gets all fixed up, and then they redeploy him for Battle of the Bulge, and that's when they get shot, man. That's crazy, dude. Because, yeah, so I just thought it'd be interesting to kind of go over some of this history. My uncle's really good at, like, keeping track of all this stuff, and thought if I was going to share this, obviously Memorial Day weekend is the time to share this. So, yeah, if I'm sure a lot of people out there have people in their family. And it's just, it's good to try to find out about this stuff. It creates a story. And, I have a personal connection with this because obviously my middle name is Raymond. So I'm like, hey, let's find out more about this. So there's more meaning behind Raymond. So I just find it super interesting. And the kid's like super young. I mean, can you imagine? I can't even imagine like the balls on some of these guys that did this, It's just insane about what they did, and they're we think we're men, like these guys are the real men. So so I guess he's in Belgium, yeah, buried in Belgium, because that was the whole controversy where his wife wanted to keep him there overseas and not bring him back. Yeah, and I know Europeans and the Americans and the World War II and stuff is a little bit different. Like there's a little bit more camaraderie between a lot of the different countries for that particular war, Now it's a totally different story, but yeah, the Greatest Generation, it's really cool. And if you think about it, like this is World War II. Before you know it, this is going to be 100 years ago. Like we're coming up to like 100. Like most of these World War II guys that are like they're not going to be around much longer, right? I mean, they always have people like. There's only so many people that are still alive that actually served in World War II, and like before you know it, it's over. So the only thing you have, you can't go talk to these people anymore. So the only thing you have is like archives, pictures, stories, what people have gathered throughout the years, retelling of stories, and like get it documented so we don't forget. Obviously, that's the big issue with different generations is you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations and then people, it just goes by the wayside. And like World War II, yeah, I remember we spent like a week in school talking about that. Yeah. But the significance of it is huge. So I just thought it'd be nice to share with that for you guys. So that's Raymond Malone. They call me Rowdy Ray. Rowdy Ray. He was standing up on a windmill. It's funny. A parallel story to that. This guy's up on top of a windmill, squawking like a chicken. I one time during golf, it was during high school. We got those big old buses, right? Well, I'm the idiot. Those escape valve on the school buses. Well, there's 2 of them. Big long bus. There's 2 of them. So I went up one. And then walked over on top of the bus and then went in the other one. I mean, it's the same vibe, Same vibe. So me and Raymond share maybe a lot of different characteristics that humans would have. So classic Combat Pat. Hey, well, give it up for Combat Pat. Give it up for, I'm sure, the weekend, people barbecue and hang out and party and watch races. Like, oh, I don't have to work for 3 days and blah, blah, blah. It's like a big freaking party. There should be some somber time to it as well to realize just what you got and how you got it.